dun, dun. Such an amazing album. Ray Davies, brother of Dave Davies, leader, singer, songwriter, head of the Kinks. Just all around awesome guy. My favorite. Here's his album from 2005, Other People's Lives. And what a price at Vintage Vinyl. $14.99 for a double album. That's unheard of these days. But yeah, Other People's Lives is a fantastic album from Ray. He hadn't released anything since Storytellers in, I believe, 1998. Don't shoot me down if I'm wrong. But yeah, it had been quite a while, and of course a lot had happened in the meantime. He got shot in the leg while chasing a mugger in New Orleans. So yeah, that kind of set you back for a little while. And he just had all these songs, of course, because he's Ray Davies. And this album is just, to me, perfection. It's so good. Starts off with Things Are Gonna Change the Morning After. There's this like, you know, guitar feedback reverb that comes in. Oh, it's so good. I remember getting this CD and listening to it over and over and over again before I saw him in Madison for the first show of the tour to support this album. And again, he hadn't been on tour since Storyteller, and it was phenomenal. I remember standing at the lip of the stage and looking off to the left and seeing Ray shadowed in waiting to come on stage, and he's literally standing there running in place and like jumping up and down and everything. So it's like still really high energy, and he was ready to go. And the show itself was just phenomenal. I don't think I will ever have a better concert experience than that. To be able to you're kind of communicating in a way, or at least it makes you feel like you're communicating with them when you're right at the edge of the stage and they're performing and you're just there. Very, very awesome experience for me. My little, 23, 24-year-old self couldn't have asked for anything more. So Ray Davies, my all-time favorite. Other People's Lives, awesome album. John and I did know each other in 2005, but we weren't together yet. So I didn't get this autographed, but I did get my CD cover autographed. I had a Sharpie with me and I held it out to him and he stopped and he signed it and he smiled and handed it back to me, and total fangirl moment. So my fave.
His big brother and our favorite artist, Mr. Ray Davies, his album Other People's Lives from, what year was this? 2005. I don't know why I had the CD already, and then I was shopping in Vintage Vinyl. There's the price, and I just saw it, and I was like, okay, that'd be fun to have on vinyl. Double LP set, custom inner sleeves with lyrics and illustrations, black vinyl. I have played this, obviously, so I open it up. Really great, strong album, a great solo debut from Ray. Heidi saw him on this tour. I saw him before this record came out, much before, maybe around Storyteller time. I saw him at the whatever theater in Morristown, New Jersey. I went with a coworker and his wife. And the one thing I remember about the show was he was telling stories between songs, and he mentioned a radiogram. And some young kid in the audience yelled out, "What's a radiogram?" And Ray just stopped and was like, how old are you? And he's like, well, it's half a radio and half a gram. He went on with the show. But yeah, I remember I went with my coworker Ron, his wife Gina, and they got down front. I don't think it was assigned seating. Maybe it was, because they ended up down front, and I was a little further back in the middle on the left. And it was great to see him, even though I wasn't up close. But what more can you say about this record? I first heard some of these songs on a live concert my friend Tim sent to me that he got off of some download tree. Because I first heard Stand Up Comic in a live setting before the album came out. I remember it just came out, it just blew us all away. Everybody was kind of like, oh, it's not going to be like the Kinks. But this is incredibly strong, incredibly great. Ray Davies, Other People's Lives on V2 from 2005.
Spencer Davis Group up next with Mulberry Bush. I don't know a whole lot about Spencer. Well, I don't know a whole lot of songs from Spencer Davis Group outside of Give Me Some Lovin'. So I don't really know. I don't think I know any of these songs. I wonder if Every Little Thing. No, it's not the Beatles song. This looks like it's a compilation later. Originally released in 1967 and re-released in 1999 on Get Back under license from Cherry Red Records. So cool re-release. Definitely feels like heavier vinyl. So it's on Get Back Records. Cherry Red. Again, a little dusty. Probably hasn't played it in quite some time.
Here we have the Spencer Davis Group, Mulberry Bush. This is on Get Back Records out of Italy, who I think are kind of quasi-legit, like a Karma. This stuff, material has been reissued, I think, way too many times by now. It's on CD, it's on different LPs. This is the post-Winwood lineup of this Spencer Davis Group after Steve and his brother Muff left the Spencer Davis Group, and York and Hardin, I think, came on. Pete York and Eddie Hardin joined the band. I know I've heard BBC recordings where they actually introduced Pete York as Peter Tork, Pete Tork. This is like some music they did for a 1967 really groovy British film called Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush, which I have the original soundtrack of. You'll see that much later. This soundtracks are way down here. Sorry. Good stuff. Traffic and Spencer Davis Group are on the soundtrack. So it was, I don't think the Winwoods left under bad circumstances. They just wanted to move on. Steve, of course, went on to Traffic. Muff went into producing. This is a gatefold. Nice pictures and story. Picture of the film debut. Spencer Davis Group actually appears in the film, but Traffic doesn't. Is this color vinyl? Well, if black is a color. Very thick vinyl. Some really great songs. There's songs from the film and songs that they recorded from around that time. The most well-known one is Time Seller, which is a great British psychedelic track. But some of the stuff is not in the film. I don't know. Collection of original recordings from the sessions of mid-67, making up an album that could have been released in 67. Okay, I get it. But that's why they call it Mulberry Bush, because one or two of these tracks are on the film, but I don't think most of them are. But kind of gets in the shadows of the Winwood era, but still made good recordings. Anyway, Spencer Davis Group, Mulberry Bush, what would have been their 1967 album.
All right, up next, we've got the Spencer Davis Group again with their new Face On, which I'm trying to see if I know any of these. Looks like a lot of these were co-written by Tim Hardin, I'm guessing. It says Hardin. It could be a different Hardin. I could be completely wrong and off base. I feel like I've heard Morning Sun, but this was another 1967 Spencer Davis Group released in 2002 on RPM Records. Perfect name for a record company.
Now we have more Spencer Davis Group. I believe this is their third album from 1967. The first one without the Winwoods. This was on United Artists originally. This is a reissue on RPM, I believe, and it's the US version. I'm not really familiar with their discography. There must be a UK equivalent. This has some of the same songs that are on the record I just showed, but also has one or two that are not, like Alec in Transitland, Feel Your Way, but Stop Me I'm Falling, produced by Mike Hurst, produced by Spencer Davis. The exact reissue on RPM, not much to report there, but this era of Spencer Davis Group is really good. You know, they didn't have hits after Steve and Muff left the Winwoods, but still worthy of your time and highly recommended. Like I said in the previous record, Time Seller is a really great British psych song. So this is the Spencer Davis Group with their new Face On, exact reissue of their 1967 United Artists album.
Right, up next, we've got Dead Boys, Third Generation Nation. I've definitely heard of this group. definitely punk. I mean, look at him. I guess that's Stiv Bators. I've heard the name. Don't know anything. Don't recognize the song, but they do tell me the Jagger Richards song. I'm gonna have to check this out. This sounds really like it could be something I'd like. This looks like a repress for sure. 1999 on Bad Boy Productions. Oh, and it's on. I'm a sucker for different colored vinyl, but this is clear vinyl, which is kind of cool.
Next up, for all you punk fans, this is the Dead Boys, their second album, Third Generation Nation. What this is, I don't think I've ever seen an actual copy of their second album. I assume it's on Sire. But this is a 1999 issue on Bad Boy Records out of England. And this is a re-EQ'd mix of the pre-EQ'd session, which I guess reading from the liner notes here, the second album was very disappointing. Felix Papalari of Mountain produced it, but he didn't understand punk rock, and the album sounded pretty weak. So this sounds a little brighter and rougher. I picked this up on, of course I have the first album, Young, Loud, and Snotty, which is great. I have the CD. But I picked this up on my friend Big Jeff's recommendation, and I really like, interesting is because they covered the Rolling Stones' Tell Me, and Joey and Dee Dee Ramone do backing vocals on it. Yeah, it says here in the back, they were sent to Criteria Studios in Miami, Florida, which is not a studio you will send a New York City or Cleveland punk band, as they were, to record. Criteria Studios is where the Eagles recorded, Eric Clapton, those types. Although Black Sabbath went there to record Technical Ecstasy, and they thought they were bad drug users. They said, yeah, every time we went in to record, we literally had to vacuum out the mixing board because the Eagles left so much cocaine residue on the board. But some of the more well-known songs, there's a title track, Third Generation Nation, Ain't It Fun? There's a Kim Fowley co-composition here called Big City. And on the back, Cheetah Chrome says, Big City still sucks, though. This is on, Bad Boy Records. I think it's just regular. Oh, no. Look at that. Clear vinyl. Look at that. I think that makes a big goddamn difference, but it's cool. Anyway, Dead Boys, Third Generation Nation, re-equalized to make it young, louder, and snottier.
All right, a name that I really have trouble with saying in the right order. We've got Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and Titch. This is their greatest hits. Don't know a whole lot about them. I've heard Hold Tight before. Bend It sounds familiar. Here's the guys on the back. Pretty sure they're kind of maybe bubblegummy with that kind of a name. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. But I've heard John mention them a few times. But nothing I've heard stands out incredibly strong in my opinion. But could just be some good fun. This is their greatest hits on Fontana. It just reminds me of when the Monkees, when Mickey would kind of try to say their names, or no, Mike would say their names and be like, it's Mickey, Deaky, Mickey, Monkey, Mick, and Titch.
Now we have, make sure I say this right, there's so many names. Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and Titch, greatest hits on Fontana, US copy. I believe I found this up here somewhere when I first moved here. It might have been a record show. Huge in England, big in England and Europe. Didn't make much of a dent in America, so I'm really surprised that Fontana would go so far as assembling a greatest hits. Their most well-known song is Bend It. They relied on a lot of outside songwriters. That's where I kind of think of them kind of like a British Monkees, different, but they were a self-contained band. They did play their instruments. Of course, I'm not going to get into the whole Monkees thing. You know what I'm talking about. But they were kind of seen, like a pre-teeners band. But they got some good tracks. I have a cool 2 CD comp of their BBC sessions where they do things like Buffalo Springfield's Mr. Soul, which is neat. This is a mono copy on that basic Fontana label there. I don't know a whole lot of these songs. Hideaway I know of. Hold Tight I know of. Because Barbara Eden covered Bend It on a single on her Dot album. Also, I always remember in the Beatles recording sessions book, they have documentation of one of the sessions around 68 where Paul wasn't there or John wasn't there, and George is on tape saying, well, you know now that Dave D is no longer with the band, so Beaky, Mick, and Titch and I will keep with the good work going down here in Studio A or something. The other track of theirs I know is well known, but it's not on here. Something called Zabadak, which I don't know about. But being Anglophiles, we picked this up just to see what it's like. And it's good British pop rock, but not much more I can say about it because I don't remember much about it. But anyway, Dave D. Oh, the other thing about Dave D, he was a policeman in the early 60s, and he was one of the first cops on the scene for the accident that took Eddie Cochran's life and gave Gene Vincent lifelong physical problems. And he grabbed Eddie Cochran's guitar and like protected it, kept it in the police station, I think played it. That's pretty interesting. But anyway, Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and Titch, greatest hits on Fontana, US. I believe this is from about 1968.
I have a question while you're on camera here that I can ask you. Do you think, in your opinion, do you think that the difficulty of the name had anything to do with their lack of success?
I don't know. Could
that
be.
be a
It's
hindrance?
a mouthful. I mean, they had hits in England.
But what other groups could you think of that had that big of a mouthful to say?
Well, there
for
is
their
one.
name. You can't be like, and it doesn't roll off the tongue to use their
No.
abbreviations either. Like, what would it be? DDDBMT.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
how
roll
it would
off
get
the tongue
listed
either.
sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I know of one rare British psychedelic single, which is kind of a studio thing, which has a really, really long name.
Yeah.
I can't remember it now. It's on one of my comps.
It makes you wonder, like, if they had gone with a name like, we're the,
The Sox.
the Sox, the Black Sox, would they have had more success? Because people are like, I just don't even want to say it.
They actually did come to America, but I don't think they played shows. They did like a radio station tour, just introducing themselves. I've
Okay.
seen a picture, but anyway,
Here we go. Cheers.
So that's our latest video. Hope you enjoyed it. Our input on both records. I just want to mention some things. I had the brief thought of doing a live stream for about 30 seconds. I still think of it like, yeah, that might be fun. Nah, it ain't gonna work. No one's gonna show up. And what are we gonna talk about? Well, we'll talk about records. I just don't want to have a live stream that falls into griping and complaining and picking on each other like one stream I know of. But I also wanted to bring up, what non-vinyl community channels do you watch like on a regular basis, other hobbies? I really like watching, I started watching this guy. His channel's called Travels with a Wise Guy. I suspect he's from New Jersey because he always has shirts on for Seaside Heights and Point Pleasant. And he drives around the Midwest on all these little two-lane highways and visits these forgotten little towns. And it's just really interesting because I'm very fascinated by two-lane highways and old roads and little towns. And it's really neat. He actually had a small documentary that ended up at some film festival somewhere in the Midwest. And it's just really relaxing thing to watch. And the other thing I like to watch, and it makes me laugh my ass off, is Vice Grip Garage. It's this guy, Derek. Originally he was in Missouri. Now he's in Nashville. He had to move for some reason. But he will buy cars sight unseen that have been sitting in fields and garages and barns, whatever, for like 15, 20 years. And he will get them running and drive them 300 to 600 miles home very dangerously. Because I think like, yeah, we don't have a brake on the left and whoa, it's really moving. And I love that he has all this automotive knowledge and safety, and he just throws it out the window and drives these cars that should not be on the road and gets them back. And he refers to the parts not by their names. Like, I put a new set of sparkulators in there and the Whirligig electric maker and everything. But it's just really fun. It's a relaxing thing. I watch it on lunchtime. His most recent one of his most recent ones I finished today, he bought a 66 Mustang and he drove it back to Nashville, and the gas tank got clogged up, the sock over the intake, and he had to have a gas can on the seat we only held like 5 gallons. You can only get like 50 miles at a time. Stop and fill up. Stop and fill up. But if you, yeah, what other VC channels do you watch? Oh, and another question. This came up. I was talking with somebody. What is the worst record store or rock club bathroom you've ever been in? I know record stores, especially small ones that one guy runs, they're not known for cleaning much. And the worst the bathroom at City Gardens in Trent, New Jersey was bad. I went in there once. I said, never again. I never visited CBGB, so I can't compare. But the worst bathroom I'd ever been in a business was not a record store or club. It was a place in Perth Amboy that fixed big heavy-duty truck springs, Perth Amboy Spring. Their bathroom, the urinal was busted, and they had an aluminum drain pipe under the urinal, then going out the door through a hole in the wall they cut. My boss at the time said the best way to clean that bathroom and fix it is to throw a hand grenade in the front door and run like hell. It was the worst. I didn't use it. He just teased me, hey, go check out their bathroom. I was like, oh my God. Because the worst record store bathroom I think I've ever been in was in Hackensack Record King. I don't know how that man was using the bathroom. Again, that was one that looked like you should throw a hand grenade in and run like hell. Just something that occurred to me the other day, you know. Anyway, anything else? Yeah, I just had the thought of doing a live stream maybe for an hour or something on a Saturday night, but who would show up and what will we talk about? Anyway, our latest video, I hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, comment. Be good. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you on our next video.